Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. We're going to continue my theme of films along the Gloucester Sharpness Canal, and for this section we're starting at Frampton on Severn and we're in the local church. We're actually in the churchyard and apologise for my throat. I'm suffering hay fever at the moment. It's one of the hottest days of the year, mid-June, and it's going to be really hot today. I'm already suffering, but never mind, we'll push on and try and complete this section. It's going to be difficult because parking is difficult around here. It's hot and I think people lose their patience. So we'll give it a try. So without further ado, sit back and enjoy.
Leaving Cambridge Arm behind us, we approach the next bridge of Splatt on the Gloucester Sharpness Canal. Splatt Bridge is located at the southern end of the sprawling and historic village of Frampton on Severn. Across the canal, we see one of the 8 bridge houses, built with the design of a classical style porch. Just in time to see the bridge keeper wind off his bridge to allow small vessels through. Oh dear, we have been spotted. Make sure you wave back to these happy boaters. Before 1827, this would have been open fields. Then along came the navvies to dig out the canal by hand. Now the canal splits the village of Frampton on Severn, seen here on the right, with the River Severn on the left. The bridge keeper patiently waited for a third vessel to pass through, before closing the bridge to allow a large tractor to cross. The parish church for Frampton on Severn is St Mary the Virgin, consecrated in 1315 AD, but believed to have been built before that year. The organ was built in 1866, with the first person to play it being Hubert Parry, best known as the composer of the choral song of Jerusalem. As the boats travel to Fretherne Bridge, we leave the canal to drive through the village of Frampton on Severn, stopping along the way to take in various points of interest. It is worth stopping to admire the 25-metre long tithe barn, part of the Tanhouse farm located not far from Splatt Bridge. This was built to store fleeces before they were shipped down the River Severn. Before the canal was built, a creek ran from the Severn to the nearby village green. Driving through Frampton on Severn, it is interesting to note that it was mentioned in the Domesday Book way back in 1089. Another interesting fact is that the Elvereton World Championships have been held here in recent years. But what is an elver? Simply a baby eel. A national school was built in 1842 and closed sometime in the 1970s. The Bell Inn lies at the far end of the village green. It is one of the longest village greens in England and is 22 acres in size. Frampton Court can be seen, owned by the Clifford family since the 11th century, and beyond that is the home of Frampton Sailing Club. We continue our journey to Fretherne Bridge, passing the very popular Bell Inn, which provides good accommodation and excellent restaurant. Crossing the modern Fretherne Bridge, named after the village on the far side of the canal, we park to view what is now an industrial site, in use mainly by Shipton Mill, part of the historic organic flour millers. And this is how it looked when opened in 1915 by Cadbury's. Canal boats would deliver milk, cocoa beans and sugar from Sharpness docks. This was made into raw chocolate crumb, then delivered by narrowboats to the parent company at Bourneville, near Birmingham. Near to our next bridge of Sandfield is Sandfield Wharf, built in 1942 for part of the war effort. Until its closure to shipping in the 1970s, ships would handle a variety of cargoes here, including grain and fertilizers. As can be seen with the Dutch coasters Antelope and Bert unloading cargoes of minerals. Two small boats passed by on a very hot summer's day, with the bridge keeper at Sandfield opening the bridge for them. I could not resist popping into the stable cafe for a coffee and a lardy cake. Yummy! Passing through Sandfield Bridge, we arrive at halfway along the Gloucester Sharpness Canal. At Junction, where this iconic tall crane towers over the shipyard of R.W. Davis's Unlimited and looks over the marina behind. Either side of the canal is the Stroud Water Canal, running from the Severn on the left to Stroud and beyond to the right. Here is where vessels would travel along the Stroud Water Canal down to lock out into the Severn at Frampton. And this is the other leg that travels over the hills in the distance to Stroud and on to Lechlade, where it joins the Thames. The Stroud Water Canal was opened in 1779 and closed in 1922. The Gloucester Sharpness Canal was built as a ship canal for vessels the size of the Fresh Spring to travel along. Here we see the Fresh Spring approaching Junction Bridge, bound for Gloucester. She had sailed from Bristol to berth at Gloucester Docks, but sadly she was not made welcome and soon was lying neglected on the banks of the Severn. Today she is preserved at Bideford. A happier story for the tall ship Søren Larsen, seen here negotiating Junction Bridge, bound for Gloucester Docks, where for a short time the owner berthed her, before sailing off to Australia. We leave Junction behind and travel to the next bridge at Park End, where we will commence part 5 in my series along the Gloucester Sharpness Canal. Thank you for watching my film. If you liked it, why not subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. Meanwhile, I look forward to meeting you all again next week with a new film for you to enjoy. Bye!